We have a lot to discuss. Jair Alexander. We have to discuss a linebacker that was released out of nowhere, and wondering with the Eagles linebacker situation when the Kobe Dean now probably going to miss more time than what we expected, if they would add another body to this position. And we're going to be talking about Johnny Wilson, the wide receiver, because I'm really rooting for him this year, and I think good things are coming. So let's get straight into it all.
A killer buried, but not dead.
Darren, we better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope it's having a fantastic day. Hope everyone's doing well during this work week. Okay, now there's some things that have happened, and we're talking about the roster. We're talking about how we always making moves or trying to see what is out there. The first bit of news that we ended up getting the other day was Jair Alexander. He was released, okay, by the Green Bay Packers. Now, the whole situation with Jair Alexander, okay, has been they tried to restructure his deal, never happened. They tried to trade him, no trade has facilitated in that regard at all. Nothing has happened, okay, because nobody wants to take on $17.5 million this year, okay? And it seems like Jair Alexander doesn't want to get a pay cut, okay, to stay on with the Green Bay Packers. So they released him. We've talked about this for the past week, and this is all in regards to the cornerback 2 position when it comes to Kelee Ringo. Kelee Ringo is the main focal point of the cornerback 2 position to win. We are rooting for him to win that job. Fangio tells us the guy needs reps, and I completely agree. Can't throw him into a game cold like last year and expect to analyze him as a player just because he got beat on a few plays where he barely gets reps throughout the season. Okay, Isaiah Rodgers obviously had a lot more snaps when backing up specific cornerbacks. Jair Alexander is owed about $30+ million the next 2 years left on his contract. At $17.5 million, trying to trade him, it's almost impossible because, it seems like Green Bay didn't even want to pay some of that down to at least get the trade going. So the trades ended up going nowhere regardless. And going into his 8th year this year at 28 years old, and having some injury concerns. So we know that Jair Alexander hasn't been healthy throughout his career. And shout out to Tone DeShields for some of this news too, because I like that there's football nerds out there. Okay, I'm not one of them. I am very regular, which is not much special to anything else. So appreciate from those guys. Subscribe to his channel if you guys have not. So he's missed 34 out of 68 games, and that's more than I thought he would be missing. Okay, so technically he's missed like 2 full seasons in 7 years. It's a lot of games he's missed. To put an investment in a guy like this that it's going to be hit or miss. If this guy's healthy, yeah, it's great. If he's not healthy, or there's teams out there kind of, sweating a little bit because they don't know if they want to take on a contract like that, and on top of everything else, if he's not accepting of a restructured deal, it's just going to make this signing a lot harder than what it is. This could possibly be a move down the road if Kelee Ringo doesn't work out. And I'm saying if. The big is if Kelee Ringo can't really pan out. And I don't even think Adoree Jackson is really considered to start at cornerback 2 if Ringo doesn't even win the job. I feel like the Eagles will try to get a trade, or not even a trade for a corner. I think the Eagles will try to sign a free agent corner that's out there that might be better than Adoree Jackson. And if they feel like they don't have enough at that cornerback 2 spot in general. So I think there could be a significant signing if Ringo fails in the offseason program. This is going to take a while anyway, because you're going to be waiting until the preseason games. You want to see what Kelee Ringo, he's going to get a lot of reps during the preseason games. So practice is practice at the end of the day. He's facing the best receiver core in the NFL. Iron sharpens iron. He'll just get better as the more reps he's going to get. He's a big body. We're going to find out does he have stiff hips? Is he still struggling? We're going to find out all that stuff about Kelee Ringo. It's not a move, that I want to panic for, or the Eagles see that, that Jair Alexander is available and they're just going to go out and they're going to sign him because they're not going to do that. Okay, this is going to be a wait and see approach move if it happens. Waiting and seeing what Kelee Ringo could do. If he does well, they don't have to do much of anything. If he doesn't do well and it's very up and down and Fangio doesn't see any consistency there, then we're going to have a problem. And we're going to have to dip into the free agent pool and figure out what's going to make Jair Alexander happy to be on a roster in general. Who knows? Jair Alexander might get signed really before, the Eagles are even going to try to take a look at him if Ringo is failing in training camp or anything like that. That is really the news on Jair Alexander right now. It's not something I'm like dying for because I'm ready for this youth movement. Okay. Slay goes to the Steelers. And, Isaiah Rodgers, the Eagles get a comp pick for him. He goes to the Vikings. So now you're down to Keely Ringo, really. And at 22 years old, okay, very young and just ready to go. You know what I mean? So I think we just need to be patient with this. I wouldn't panic and try to sign him immediately or anything like that. We just got to be patient. So that's where we are with Jair Alexander being released and why it happened. Now, a new linebacker has been released by the Bengals. Seems like Bengals fans are pretty pissed. And this is the linebacker Germaine Pratt. Okay, this is a guy that accumulated 80 tackles, 2 picks, and 2 forced fumbles for the Bengals last year. And it looks like there are reasons behind. He's 29 years old. Okay, so there are reasons behind his release. And I don't think it's injury related. So the Bengals saved $5.5 million from this move. And he was entering his final year of his 3-year contract from what it looked like. Okay. Now it looks like Germaine Pratt was kind of pissed off, I guess, because the Bengals have let go of their defensive coordinator and Lou Anarumu. So I think that was one of the reasons he didn't like the direction the Bengals defense, I guess the front office of what direction they were going in with their defense. Probably going to be a lot of teams interested in him. Now, would the Eagles have interest in a guy like this? I mean, potentially. I mean, I don't know. I mean, look, Jahad Campbell, he's coming off that shoulder surgery after post-combine, okay? And Fangio said he won't be back till mid-August, so he's not going to show up until like mid-preseason for what it looks like, or maybe past the preseason games. We'll see how late it is. So you want to make sure he comes back and he's fully, he won't be in full pads for a while. Okay, you have Zach Baun that's obviously at that inside linebacker spot, so you're fine there. It looks like Trotter Jr. did start in OTAs next to Zach Baun. So you can only take that with a grain of salt because you're not in full pads, you're not hitting it, and things like that. Your draft pick in Small Munden from Georgia is another guy that's here and is a sideline to sideline tackler, plays well downhill, coverage is amazing. It's just a fast player in general, so I'm excited to see him. But we all know the main reason is Nakobe Dean is going to be out for a while, probably longer than expected. I honestly thought he was ahead of schedule, and I guess he's not. From what Fangio said at his press conference last week, it's going to take a lot more time. You already kind of have to prepare yourself that Nakobe Dean's not going to be here at all for the season on a contract year. And at the end of 25, we'll figure out what they're doing with Nakobe Dean, how he looks coming off this injury, which is a serious injury with a patellar tendon injury. Could they add a guy like this? Obviously, Germaine Pratt would probably like to start. It would probably get in the way of specific guys. Younger guys are trying to, maybe start like Trotter Jr. and Small Munden and some of these other guys. So, you don't want to ruin anything when it comes to these younger guys really trying to fight for a spot, but really at the end of the day, it's up to Fangio. And at the end of training camp or in the middle of training camp, he sees what he sees. He sees what guys are really taking a big step forward and what guys are kind of like, I don't know. Maybe we have to go out and get this guy. Not really sure. I mean, if Germaine Pratt wants a new contract, you don't know what it's going to be. And if it's going to be astronomical, the Eagles will not go after him. But, the Bengals are paying 2 receivers way too much money. Ridiculous. Okay. And Trey Hendrickson could be re-signed by them, and that's going to be even more money for them. So they have a lot of issues with cap right now, as is, kind of making some crazy moves when it comes to their own extensions to that roster. This is just another guy that is out there. For me, I'm perfectly fine with what we have. I'm not worried about Jahan Campbell returning. I'm not worried about Trotter. I'm not worried about Small Munden. I'm not even worried about Nakobe Dean being out and what it's going to do. The good thing about the linebacker core right now is like having Jahad Campbell out is only going to give Fangio a wider view of what our depth looks like. So that means Trotter's going to get more snaps. Small Munden's going to get more snaps. Ben Van Sermon, he'll be playing fullback, and he'll be working with the running back. So, and he'll be a linebacker at camp. He'll be doing both. It's a good player, but, it's going to want another contract. You can acquire a guy like this, but you're going to have to pay him after a year, most likely. And obviously, the Eagles are not putting any more money into the linebacker position. You drafted one in the first round. You re-signed Zach Baun, which was the number one focus of this offseason. Thank God they did that. And, Nakobe Dean is a big question mark at the end of the year. So he is floating out there. He is ready to sign with a team, and we'll see who picks him up and how long it's going to take for specific guys to be picked up like him. So we'll see what happens. Now, lastly, we're going to get into the conversations at wide receiver. Okay, so obviously, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown are locked up for another few years together, which is an awesome thing. Not bad contracts at all when it comes to other type of 1-2 receivers that are out there throughout the league that are getting paid so much money. So the Eagles are working really well when it comes to the financials of their receiver core. Okay, now Jahan Dotson's a free agent after this year. And, there's who else could really step up at wide receiver? You have a couple no-name guys, Terrace Marshall, a former, I think, first-round pick or second-round pick that really hasn't worked out at all, and he's here to kind of prove himself, I guess. There's really nothing behind here. Johnny Wilson, as a fifth-round pick from Florida State, almost 6'7", big frame, can pinpoint the ball, 50-50 ball catches. I mean, he could do it all, okay? It's been a work in progress, though. It's been some drops, been some OPI penalties on a couple touchdowns that were taken away from him last year. But what I like about the Nick Sirianni era compared to Doug is that there's no veteran favoritism, that they're willing to throw Johnny Wilson a ball in the Super Bowl. They're willing to get these younger guys involved, which is a great thing. I mean, I like how they're not afraid to take chances in games to get these other guys, to see what they look like out there. If you need that, big frame type guy that can box out DBs, catch balls with his hands and really frame those guys out and really make a big difference, I think you have a guy like Johnny Wilson that could do that. And I think with another offseason program under his belt, I'm wondering seeing how much better he's going to be. It would be nice to see if, God forbid, knock on wood, you have an injury or something like that, and Johnny Wilson maybe needs more of an opportunity to throw him in there. You'll have some trust in him to really get the job done. Realistically, if it's not Johnny Wilson, it's going to be Ainias Smith. Like, someone has got to step up here. Ainias Smith, like, speed demon at Texas A&M. I mean, 5'9", 185, 190, like perfect size, could catch in traffic, all these great things we saw from a lot of his tape. It just hasn't transitioned. He ended up getting hurt in the offseason program. He came back, and he just didn't look good. Didn't look good on punt returns, didn't look good on special teams, didn't look good. Just his vision didn't look great. So I think this is Ainias Smith's last shot to do something, and I guess we're going to find out. Well, other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. We talked about Germaine Pratt is available, Jair Alexander that is available now as a cornerback, and obviously connection to, Ringo really taking this job and taking it far, and that's what we want. We are rooting for him. And let me know what you guys think about the depth at wide receiver as well, because I think a couple guys really need to make a big push this year and step up, be productive, and most of all, stay healthy, because the time that you don't want to miss is the offseason program. Because once you miss that, you're playing catch up during the season, and you have to wait till a whole nother year to even have an opportunity. But they do get some opportunities during the year, which is a great thing. So other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Eagles news every single day, and make sure you like this video because it helps out tremendously. I will see you guys on the next one. Shake, what up, follow, slide. Peace out, guys. Peace.